And we're live.
There's always that. There's always that freeze moment, isn't there?
Yes,
Like,
yes, there is for sure. Um, welcome to Everything is Attitude. I feel like we have had so many shows. We should count how many shows we've had at some point, Rosemary. We've had a lot of shows so far, covering a lot of great topics.
we
Um,
just keep going.
we
We're like
did,
the Energizer Bunny. One
yeah,
is up, we just keep
yep.
going.
That's exactly right. Welcome, Rosemary. I know Karen's there with you somewhere in the background, doing some
Yes,
fun stuff there.
Karen's on the sofa with me. Hi, good evening, Al, and hello everybody out there. I'm here with my lovely co-host Al Pisano, and today we're going to talk a little bit about what is it? Power symbols. I mentioned them briefly on my, the Thursday morning YouTube show, and we had a lot of people saying, "What? Huh? Can you tell us more about it?" and so on. So I thought that it's a really good topic, especially for our Everything Is Attitude show, because um, power symbols can be tremendously helpful. I mean, hugely helpful in the idea of uh, empowering us, helping us to find that positive attitude, in helping us to believe in ourselves. So I'm going to tell a little story, and the story really is going to depict how, in some ways, how I use my power symbol, which happens to be, surprise, surprise, an eagle feather. And of course, my spirit guide is grey eagle, so everything is eagles around me. But my power symbol is an eagle feather, and whenever I see one, either when I see it, uh, let's say psychically, or when I see one laying on the ground, wherever it is, that power symbol is my symbol, and it inspires me. So, first of all, let me tell you this story. So, I was about to go on the Lisa Gibbons show, and she's lovely. She is such a lovely, lovely person, and I love her to pieces. And this was not the first time I'd been on the show. And Lisa was the sort of host on her TV show where she was happy to say, "Okay, Rosemary, do your thing, go for it, and we'll move the cameras wherever you want to walk, wherever you want to move. You just do it, and we will follow you." I have to tell you that that is very unusual, because most hosts like to, they put a little piece of tape and they tell you to stand there, and you have to stand on that spot and don't move, and there are all sorts of rules and regulations, and or you have to sit in a chair and you have to sit in that one spot. But with Lisa, she was very well aware of how I work, which is I like to go into the audience, I like to move around with the audience, and she just said, "You do it and we'll follow you," which was great. So I went to this particular show, and when I arrived, now I do feel at some point, a day or two beforehand, maybe someone from the show had mentioned this to me, but when I got there, they reminded me that the audience that they had was all about parents, and a lot of the audience were parents and siblings of children, not necessarily little children, but there were parents and siblings of children who had died. And as with many shows, TV shows, they like to talk to the audience first. So they put me in a dark room. Very often they put headphones on your ears. Uh, you can't see anything. It's almost like the room closet they put you in. They put you in this room. You can't see anything. You can't hear anything because you've got headphones on. And I suppose it's to make sure, and to help the audience to make sure, TV audience and the live audience, that I'm not hearing anything, I'm not seeing anything, and anything that has been said to the host with the audience, or anything that the audience is speaking about before I go on, they, I can't hear that. So here I am in this little closet, a little bit bigger than a closet, to be fair, with the headphones on. They didn't blindfold me, but they really didn't need to, because there was nothing in the room but me. And when I had been told and reminded that this was a group, a large audience of parents and siblings who had lost children, first of all, it happens to be my favourite thing to do. I'm all about kids, and if I can help kids in any way, shape, or form, whether they be in the spirit world or whether they are still here with us, I'm very kid oriented, so I'm very, very concerned. But here we have a topic where there are people out there in the audience. The majority of the audience is extremely vulnerable. They've come, some of them travelled even overseas. They've got on planes, they've, driven long journeys to come and sit in that audience because they're told that someone like me might just make a connection with their child who has passed. So here I'm sitting in this closet and I'm thinking about all these people out there in the audience and how vulnerable they are. But I'm also thinking about myself and thinking, what if I can't do this? What if I disappoint? And I started to go over all of the responsibility that's piled onto my shoulders, plus the disappointment or potential disappointment for my audience who are there desperate to hear from their children. So I'm sitting there and I'm talking to my spirit guide, Grey Eagle, obviously thinking, I'm actually begging, help. Help me, don't let me fail. Please don't let me fail. And all of a sudden, I had a vision. It was so clear, it almost knocked me over. You know that saying, you could knock me down with a feather? I saw this enormous eagle feather, and it was probably 7-8 feet tall, placed in front of me. And it was like I was being told, you have this power. You own this power. And our power symbols do not give us power. They remind us of the power that we have within us, and they remind us that we can use that power when we need to. Suffice to say, and it is recorded, so anybody wants to go look on the Lisa show, we had a great show. I talked to many, many parents. At the end of this TV show, there were so many parents that I hadn't yet spoken to, so many kids I hadn't yet connected with in the spirit world, that in fact Lisa came up to me when we'd done the show, and she said, Rosemary, there's so many people in the audience, we don't want to send them away disappointed. Is it possible that you could give us another hour, and would you do another show? We'll put them back to back. Well, it happens that I always used to take 2 jackets with me. So it was easy to make it look like it was a different show on a different day if that's what they wanted to do. So I just donned my other jacket and off we went again. And then after that, with a lot of the parents, some I'd spoken to and some I had not spoken to, I said, if the studio doesn't mind, we'll all go into the back, find a spot. So I sat there for several hours. This took several hours, actually. The 2 shows, that's 2 hours right there, and probably another hour to an hour and a half, talking to parents who had lost their children. Some had had messages, some had not. And I was able to do this. Now, had I not had a power symbol, had I not had that, I'm sure I would have been fine, because you're pushed out onto the stage and you've got no choice but to get on with it. Positive attitude, right? But a power symbol is that thing that if we have a power symbol, and each of us has a power symbol, every one of us has a power symbol, and if we can find that power symbol, we can sort of visualize it, we can conjure it up in our minds, we can visualize it, and it helps us to retain a positive attitude. It helps to remind us that we can do anything if we set our mind to it. It gives us the courage and it gives us the strength to say, okay, then I do have this power within me. So we can conjure up, we can visualize a power symbol. It happened for me that Grey Eagle threw that feather in front of me. But for those of us who don't have a spirit guide, for those of us who need to do this on our own, having a positive attitude and looking for our power symbol when we're in doubt or if we're unsure about things is it's a huge tool. Once again, a fantastic tool in our spiritual tool bag that we can haul out, bring out, and use. The same as a mantra. A mantra is a very powerful thing too. But a power symbols are very positive. Now, I did ask you just before the show, do you have a power symbol? Do you want to say something about that?
Yeah, actually, I was going to mention too. It does seem very similar to the effect a mantra has, but it kind of is almost easier than a mantra, right? Because you get this visual and you kind of know, feel, hear, everything that you need to make you understand that you have that power within. So I I think I have a couple power symbols, but the one that is most prevalent of late is actually my father used to love Superman, still loves Superman, and I have been waiting for the past 3 or 4 weeks on a decision. We had written, me and a friend had written a couple proposals for books. So we've been waiting for a little while to see if the publisher accepted us or not. And one said, let's work on something together. The other one that we were really kind of hoping for eventually said that they wouldn't take us on. But this past week or so, I've been seeing the Superman logo a lot. And even one time I saw it and I saw the word congratulations. So in my mind, I started thinking, oh, maybe that means good things, right? So I guess I misinterpreted my power symbol. The other morning, I woke up and I see, as if someone was holding the Superman logo in front of my face. I see that as I wake up, the Superman logo. And maybe an hour or so later, I got a text from my friend that I'm writing this book with, and he said, the publisher said no. And I think in the past, I would say, well, why did I get that symbol if it meant no? But I think I've grown a lot with your help, especially in the past few years. And instead of staying with that, I switched immediately to say, I think the power symbol is to let me know that even though this is a rejection, I still have that power within to do whatever I wanted. And I quickly, converted from, wait, I thought I was getting this book deal versus, all right, I didn't get it. I know I can do it. Let's just do it another way. We'll self-publish or whatever. Yeah.
So it basically not only reminded you, visualizing that power symbol, not only reminded you of the power within you, but it also helped your attitude, and you stayed positive regardless of the negatives of the situation. You stayed positive and moved forward because, again, when you have a power symbol, when you see a power symbol, when you know your power symbol, it really, you can actually use it. It is a tool to be used. It's what I call a spiritual tool to be used in our spiritual tool bag. And that can really drive us forward, and it can really, remind us, hold on here. Yes, I can do this. When I was in the back of that studio with the headphones on and sort of quite lonely and lost by myself, I'm going to be this person who comes out into the audience. The cameras are on me. Everybody's got these great expectations, and no matter how much you say, look, I'm only one little person. I always say I'm just one little human being. That's all I am. I'm just a little being, a little human being, doing the best that I can. But when that feather, or if I'm in doubt of anything and I visualize the feather, it encourages me, drives me forward to say, I can do this. in all humility, I'll give it my best shot. I'm going to give it my best shot. And if your best shot, like the book, if the best shot isn't good enough for that person, it's going to be good enough for somebody at some point in the future. And it reminds you, when you visualize, it reminds you. So power symbols, what are they? So with my students, and those students who are listening, do not try this. I want you to work on what you're supposed to be doing. Do not go off.
Nettie's listening. Nettie's listening.
Yeah,
So
I know. I love my Nettie. She's lovely. I can't do it, Rosemary. I don't understand, Rosemary. Boy, if I were next to her, I'd give her a kick up the butt. She can do it. She does it every week. She pulls out she pulls it out somehow at the last second. But she's great. However, Nettie, do not do this. Do not do this, because in class, in our classes, we're going to do it in a different way. But this is to help people generally. This is so a lot of people have a power symbol, and Nettie will be interested to know. Do not try this, Nettie. But I already know what Nettie's power animal is. There are a lot of people who have power symbols. There are a lot of people who have power animals. Remember what I'm saying again. These things do not give you power. They remind you of the power that is within you. They encourage you. They give you faith in yourself. They help to stave off the how we doubt ourselves. When we see these things, or sometimes they are given to us, and sometimes we need to sit and visualize them. When they're given to us, that is when we're really in tune with the universe. That is when, for instance, if your power animal was an owl, and you're driving along or you're walking along and an owl comes out of nowhere, just at that moment when you're feeling low, when you're feeling desperate, that is a gift from your loved ones in the spirit world. They are saying to you, hey, remember, you have the power. You own the power to be whoever it is you want to be. So a lot of people know without even knowing that they know what their power symbol is. Some people are drawn to mountains. Some people are fascinated by the moon or the stars. Some people are fascinated by the sun or the shapes, mountain shapes. Some people are fascinated by the pyramids. We have one of our students, and a friend of mine who has a shell. It's a seashell, and when he holds it in his hand, or when he closes his eyes and he visualizes it, it does something to him. It does not give him the power. It reminds him of his power. So a lot of people already know what their power symbols are because they're drawn to certain things in life. They're drawn, for instance, to the number 9 or the number 6. I don't want to get into numbers because power symbols are a little bit different than power numbers. And I also don't want to get into animals quite yet because power animals are very different too. But if you are having an issue, if you're struggling to find that positivity, if you're struggling to have a good attitude, all right, you need to sit quietly, close your eyes, and see what you can produce. And when people do this, and again, I think most people do know without even knowing that they know it, they know a shape. It could be a figure, it could be Superman, it could be just the shape of the sun. And very often, if people are drawn to the sun and that's their power symbol, I mean, think about what the sun does. It heats us, it warms us, it brings us light, it brings us enlightenment, mountain, a lot of people have the mountain or a particular mountain sometimes, or even a range of mountains, but think how strong and grounded those mountains are. Think about what they mean to you and allow them to remind you that you are strong and that you're, maybe your attitude needs a little jolt, a little poke in the ribs or something, but maybe your attitude can be, you can boost it, you can bolster it just by sitting quietly. Or even if you're on a bus or a train or something and you're feeling low and you're feeling unhappy, close your eyes and visualize your power symbol. Remind yourself that you own the power to be whatever you want to be, that we do have the power within us to change our lives if we so desire. I know a lot of people, especially the students in the class, some of them are having difficulty with discipline. A power symbol can help with that. You have the power, it will say to you. You own the power. You have the power within you to be as disciplined as you want to be. Here's the deal. Do you actually want to be disciplined? And if you don't want to be, then nobody's going to change your mind about it. But power symbols can be so incredible to use with our working on and developing a really good and a really positive attitude.
So the funny part about that symbol, or the end, I guess, to the story is, I heard a little voice say, "I have a Superman shirt," and I heard a little voice say, "Oh, wear the Superman shirt today." So I put the Superman shirt on, and I was going about my day. I think I went for a hike, and then I was going shopping in Trader Joe's.
I just have to stop you.
Yeah.
You have a Superman shirt?
Yes.
Brilliant. I love it. Okay, I love it.
So actually, the Superman shirt, right? It actually helps me feel like I can do what I need to do sometimes.
Because it reminds you.
Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant.
So if I'm feeling down or whatever, I'll pull out that shirt and I'll wear the Superman shirt. So I put it on the day that the publishing thing came through, and I went about my day. I went hiking, and then I went to Trader Joe's and I was shopping, and I came around the corner, and this little bright-eyed, blonde hair, actually very flowy, curly blonde hair like Reese. Maybe he was 4 or 5 years old. He's with his mother, and he shouts out, points at me and says, "You have a Superman shirt on." And I said, "Yes, I do have a Superman shirt on." So, and he was.
Did he ask the next question? Are you Superman?
I think it needs a little more hair to be Superman, but
But it is a really good analogy, this, because when you if you have a power symbol, if you're an artist, you can draw it. If you're you can sketch it. If your power symbol happens to be something that is portable, as mine is, I used to keep huge feathers in a jar in my office, and I would look at this sometimes, where, especially if we're having a tough day or a difficult day, or I hate office work anyway, and I would look at those feathers sometimes and I'd think, all right, you can do it then. So you put them where you can find them, where you can feel them. Sometimes somebody will have a power symbol that they can fit in their pocket. It might be a stone, it might be a shell, but visualizing and holding and paying attention to these things. And I think, I don't know if we've got any comments out there yet, Al, but I think that so many people already know their power symbol. They just don't know that that's what it is. If that makes any sense. Do we have any comments so far?
Just a few hellos. And Nettie said she won't try yet. Laura says, hi Rosemary from Italy. Barbara loves you so much, Rosemary, sends hearts. Letty, it looks like, it says, hello, Rosemary. So just a lot of hellos and a lot of reactions. And
that's so nice. We'd love to have some questions, actually, if anybody wants to ask a question or just make some comments. Did nobody say hello to you, Al? I mean, that's...
well, I don't know, but yes, Mary said hello. Hi, Rosemary now. Lots of love. Yes, Mary said hi, Rosemary now. Yes.
Who said?
Mary said hi, Rosemary and Al. Yes, she did. Uh, Wanda says, "What if I'm very much afraid of birds and my power animal is an eagle?" Oh, that's.
What did she say? What if, and if her power animal is an eagle?
I think she is afraid of birds, and her power animal is an eagle. I think that's what she's saying. Um,
I don't understand that,
yeah,
Wanda, but because your power animal should be. We weren't going to talk about power animals, were we? But anyway, let's do it anyway. But a power animal is that creature that inspires. Um, Even with my power animal, my obviously my power animal is the eagle. My power symbol is the feather. Even when I see small birds, they inspire me. Some people will have a butterfly, for instance, or a dragonfly, and so on. There are so many different power animals, power symbols. There are so many different ones out there, but they should be things that certainly don't make you afraid of anything. They are there simply to remind you of your power, to inspire you, and to give you courage. Uh, so I'm not quite sure about that, Wanda, but thank you for letting us know. It seems odd to me that you've got a power animal that makes you tremble in your boots, but because I would try again. Try again. Have another look. See if you can find something that sort of really inspires you and gives you courage and helps you to be brave.
and then we have Irene says, "Hello from Sweden in the middle of the night. Love listening to you.
Oh,
It's
darling, thank you.
so interesting and helpful." Nettie just said hi, Al, to me as well. So
I was teasing. I know you all mean to say hi, Al and Rosemary. I know that. I know that. You don't feel you don't feel left out, do you, Al?
no, it's okay. It's quite all right.
Well, Karen and I today we went to the beach. Uh, we took an umbrella with us because it's hot in Florida, and when we got to the beach, we carted this ridiculous umbrella across the sands and so on. It was a beautiful day, beautiful turquoise water, but when we tried to we sort of put the thing in the sand, and well, Karen did actually, because my back won't do that anymore. She put the thing in the sand, which is not such easy work, and then we got the chairs and we got the drinks, and I'd made some nice pita chips, uh, which we took with us as well, right, Karen? And we're looking at these two little birds came scurrying along, and Karen said, "Oh, look at them, they're so pretty." I said, "I think they call them peewits." So I was sitting there reading and just lost, every now and again looking out. But Karen did her listening and her exercise that our students are doing. And then at some point, she said to me, "Can I read you what I've written?" So I said, "Okay, yes." Now, she was inspired by the water, she was inspired by the sun. And even though we were sitting baking because the umbrella didn't work, we couldn't get the umbrella up. So even against all the odds, and it was really hot, and we couldn't stay as long as we would normally because the umbrella didn't work. And then the beach, we were swamped with love bugs, which was it's like this black swarm of love bugs came. And anyway, but despite all of that, with the most positive attitude, Karen wrote a piece about listening and about your dad and all of that. And it was so great to see that despite no umbrella, boiling sun, which, just in case anyone's worried, we only stayed 2 or 3 hours. We didn't hurt ourselves. And despite the love bugs, the swarming love bugs that don't really hurt you, but they're not very pleasant, sort of swarming around you. But despite all of that, she was inspired to write this really, really beautiful piece, which she will share with the students, and I also think she's going to share it with us on my Facebook page as well. So you can all read that. So what a great and positive attitude against all the odds of having a nice day. We had a great day. So positive attitude and listening and paying attention and learning to what it is that we want to do with our lives. And the power symbols are so important to us when we, when we are devastated, when we're down, when we're doubtful of ourselves and our own abilities, when other people put us down. I mean, there's every kind of relationship that you can think of in this world of ours. Mother daughter, mother son, brother sister, etc., and on and on. Work colleagues, and it goes on and on and on and on. And there are so many people who have issues with other people. They have issues with relationships, and a power symbol is one of those tools in the tool bag that can just give us comfort, because it really does remind us that no matter what stuff is going on that we don't like, and no matter what stuff happens to us that we wish were more positive, we do have the power to make our lives the most positive that we can.
And Rosemary, you always say too, our soul is not just put on here sort of willy nilly. It's
not
put
just
on here.
Dumped on this earth, yes.
Yeah. So you're put on here, down here with a lot of tools to help you get through it. And a lot of times we ignore those tools, right? Because life happens. But a power symbol in particular is a really potent tool, like you said, to have in your toolbox that anyone can leverage. And it has this amazing, if you leverage it in the right way, it does have this amazing effect, instant almost effect on you. Right?
It is instant, especially with power symbols. I find it's really instant, because in a way, especially in our day and age today, we're very much about, we want to see it, but we want to see it now. Give it to me now.
Instant gratification.
I want the quick fix now.
Yeah.
And if we want information, we talk to Alexa. If we want information, we talk to Siri. If we want information, we go to Google. Like this, it's like this. And I was with Karen yesterday. We were watching a thing about Einstein, and I wanted to know how old he was when he died, because I thought he must have been in his 80s. And while Karen is going on Google, I say, I can't say it now because it'll respond to me. I actually said to Alexa, tell me how old was Einstein when he died? And it took a nanosecond or two, like that. I had my answer. So it's, so we're so used to the quick fix. We're so used to having that moment right there and then, the information that we need, the help that we need, the attention that we need. And so this is why, a power symbol is an incredible tool in our toolbox, because it's instant. It's now. Once you have figured out what it is, once you have figured out what it is that inspires you, what shape, what size, whether it's a bird, whether it's a butterfly, whether it's an animal, whether it's whatever it is, power symbols can be simply, I mean, the Chinese, I think it's the figure eight, that if you see the figure eight, it's very meaningful to so many of the Chinese, many in the Chinese culture, because it's that number, it's that powerful number. But if we can just remember, it doesn't give us power, it reminds us of the power that we have to make things work. And yes, you're right, I do say, Al, all the time, God, I really believe this, I really do believe this. I do not think that God just said, okay, off you go then, you can have this earth experience and there you are. I don't believe for a second, going way back into the ages, even to the Stone Age, even to, whatever age it was. And do not believe that God places on this earth naked with, when I say naked, I'm talking emotionally naked, spiritually naked. He gave us things that we can use, and he gave us basically a toolbox. And part of that toolbox are those tools, those things that we can use in a, if you like, in a spiritual way. But you don't have to believe in God to use these things. You don't have to believe in God to know that a mantra works. Just use it. It doesn't have to be anything to do with God. And God is only dog spelt backwards anyway. So it doesn't matter what religion you are. It doesn't matter what faith you are. A power symbol works the same way. It's not about religion. It's not about believing in God or not believing in God. It's about having these tools, these certain tools. We can all of us visualize. Some of us do it better than others. Some of us need to be trained. We all of us have some senses. Not all of us have all of our senses, but we have some senses. I mean, God certainly knew what he was doing when he put us here, because he gave us those things that we can use that make our lives better, richer, more powerful. And if we use them in the right way, they remind us of the power that we have within us. It's just that we just have gotten out of the habit. I mean, in the Stone Age, do you think people just, they didn't switch on the TV and just let things happen, did they? They had to work, they had to survive, they used instinct, they used their senses, they used their sensitivity. So this is what we're trying to do, isn't it, Al? We're trying to bring people back to using their senses, using their sensitivity, and using the tools that we have in our spiritual toolbox.
Yes, we have. So we have a couple more comments. Nettie actually asked the question: can you have more than one power symbol? Still not trying, just wondering. She said.
She's lovely. I love Nettie. Well, you can actually, and Al, you mentioned that you have a couple. As a teacher, I would advise my students to work with one and to get used to that one. But yes, it is possible that you can have different power symbols or power animals. I believe that we all have at least one power symbol, even if we're not sure what it is. And I believe that we all have a power animal, that one animal that we are just drawn to, that when we see it or we talk about it, just makes us feel, something inside. Again, it reminds us of our power. Doesn't give us power, but reminds us of our power. And so, we all have we all have these things in our toolbox, the same as a mantra. I could go on and on about this. I'm just thinking how many things in our toolbox are we going to talk about today. There are so many things in our toolbox, and every single one of them has to do with attitude, because every single one of the tools in our toolbox reminds us that we do have the power within us to be the best we can be. In other words, get a grip, get a positive attitude. I'll help you. Here is your toolbox. Find the things that fit in it. With my students, I encourage them to literally visualize a bag, empty bag, and start to fill it up with the different tools that they find that they can use. And it's incredible when you start to think about it, when you start to work at it. It's incredible how quickly that tool bag can be filled.
Yeah, Rosemary, we have a couple other comments that are, I think it's signs are coming up too. Like, so I think this kind of feeds into seeing something. And also, I don't know if everybody knows, did we say Karen was with you and that she's staying with you? I don't know. A lot of the audience is the same, but you were talking about Karen a number of times.
Beacon and Solo.
So say hi, Karen. You got to lean really far into Rosemary.
Unfortunately, she's having to sit on the dog to see you all.
Hi, everyone.
Karen, if you'll remember, was a guest on one of our shows, talking about the attitude that you had to have for your Olympic
Yes.
She's an Olympic, a world Olympic.
No, an Olympic athlete.
Oh.
Yeah,
A
Canadian Olympic athlete.
She is an she is. Stop a minute. Just let me get it out. She's
I'm moving.
she's
There it goes.
a world Olympian, whatever that is, whatever that means. Won a silver medal in the World Olympics one year. Which year
Won a
was
silver
that?
medal in the
Go ahead.
won a silver medal in the
In the World Olympics.
not World Olympics, in the World Cup.
Same thing to
For-
me. It's,
No,
anyway,
World Cup
great,
for
right?
field hockey.
So, yes, and she's. I picked her up on Saturday, and she's got a few more days here, right?
Yes.
And
And she made a cameo, I think, last week on the phone. I think she made a little cameo too.
no, I can't get rid
I
of
tried.
her.
I'm not very techy.
She's all over the place.
I try hard.
I've tried. We've put so much. Well, I have. I can't speak to Karen, but I put so much weight on this week because I've been making pita chips and I've been making chicken and all
We've
sorts
been
of.
eating well.
We've been eating well, and I'm going to be making rack of lamb and all sorts of. Oh, I made a beautiful roast beef which Karen took out of the oven half an hour ago for me. And there we have it. So anyway, let's have the comments.
So some people are and I guess it goes from power symbols, and then some people are talking about signs as well. So Irene says, when I see rainbows, I get a feeling that everything will be all right, and I have the strength within me.
So that would count as a phenomenal power symbol.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. And
so instead of waiting to see them when you're feeling down, or if you feel in need of being reminded of the strength, or if you feel any day of the week or can't do this today, then you need to close your eyes or sit with a piece of paper and some crayons, draw a rainbow, visualize a rainbow, bring it to mind in whatever way you can. It reminds you that you have the power. So that's a great one. Great one.
And then Maggie says, butterflies, dragonflies, hawks, clouds, certain smells come to me, and I can relate it back to a family member, and I say thank you to all.
Okay. All right. So what I would say to Maggie is focus on one thing, focus on that one thing that brings you that, aha moment inside. When you think about it or when you see it, it brings that something into you.
So yeah, that's what I was trying to say with this. Like, there could be confusion with signs you see versus your power symbol, Rosemary, right?
Yeah, exactly. There are lots of things that inspire us, but a power symbol is that one thing, that one thing that just gives us that ha-ha moment inside, that wow moment inside, that something that you're connected with and it connects with you. For instance, if when I go into Phoenix and I see the Superstition Mountains, which is a range of mountains in Phoenix, when I see them, or even if I visualize them, they give me that wow moment. And although I don't use them really, I use the feather more often than not, but nevertheless there are those certain things. Don't get confused with, oh, they're nice, they're pretty, or I like those, they're great. You're looking for that one thing that takes your breath, gives you that wow, gives you that, gives you a feeling inside that, that it's something I'm looking at, something that's important to me. We'd love to do classes in this show, but we can't, so I can't sort of talk too much more about that. But of course our online students will get thorough training in that lesson when it comes up. Do we have any other comments out there?
Yeah, Andrea is with us. Our Andrea, as she said.
Darling.
Experts have said we have 80% more information coming at us since the inception of the internet. It keeps our mind running and on full speed, and hard to have a quiet moment to contemplate and reflect let alone get some rest. So it's another reason to really focus on that power symbol, right?
It's true, and thank you, Andrea, for that. And we're doing one of the lessons that we're doing with our online students is um, with one group of students is that we are actually talking about silence. We're actually learning to listen in a way that is not just with your ears, but listening with your eyes, listening with every part of you, listening with all of your senses. I know it sounds very weird, but this last week, I've talked to them about the sound of silence and how, I mean, is there such a sound? And of course there is. But you have to learn how to listen and to find those moments. And these are things that are in our spiritual toolbox that are very important to us that we can actually use along the way. What other comments are coming in here? We're getting quite a few, I see.
Yeah. Maggie says hawks are hearing their cry. I'm assuming that maybe a power symbol with a sound, maybe, or an animal power symbol. I'm not sure. She says she came late to the party.
It is recorded, so she can go
Yeah,
back and take another look
so,
at it.
so Rosemary, if we have this recipe for leveraging or embracing and leveraging a power symbol, what are some of those things that we could tell people or kind of reiterate what we said that give us a recipe for really harnessing the value of a power symbol and really using what's given to us in that spiritual toolbox, if you would say.
Okay. Well, I think first it's important to find the power symbol. And as I've said, I'm sorry, I'm just wriggling about here. And as I've said, I think so many people already know their own power symbol and they know it without even knowing that they know it. It can be as simple as a wave on the sand. It can be the shape of a seashell. It can be a mountain. It can be a range of mountains. It can be it can be lots of different things. And for each person, it's something different. It's not about your power symbol is not about those many, many, many things that give us a wow moment or that's pretty or that's nice. It's about having uh, something that really resonates within you so that when you see it, when you see that symbol, when you see that shape, or when whatever it is that you have there, discounting animals for now, but a power symbol is that very powerful shape or that thing that, like for instance, the symbol of the Superman. It is that thing that you just want to hold on to because it makes you feel good. It resonates within you. And I know that some of our students don't understand when I'm saying it resonates, but when something resonates within you, when you have that moment of emotion or that moment of that wow sort of, yeah, this is it. You'll know it when you see it. So when you are, for instance, if you're having trouble in a relationship, whether it's work related, I'm thinking of a friend who is having a struggle right now at work. And she has an immediate boss who's great, but his boss is not so great. And there's always this back and forth and, this thing that goes on within a work environment. What can she do about that? Well, she can say a mantra, for instance, but we're talking about power symbols. So what you do is you need to sit, just, you can be on a bus, a train, anywhere. You can be in a busy place or a quiet place. You don't have to be in a quiet place. You don't have to be in a church. This is not a religious thing. This is something that is in your toolbox that we can all use. And you can either visualize it, or maybe you can have drawn a picture of it, or maybe you've made a sort of a little shape of it, or something that you can hold on to, that you could keep in your pocket. And in those times of stress, in those times of doubt, it's really more about when you're doubting yourself and you're doubting that, you know, you're on the right track. You're doubting that you're in the right relationship. You're doubting that you're doing the right thing with your kids. You're doubting, you know, that you're a good enough wife or a good enough husband. Bring out that power symbol and hold it, either hold it in your hand or hold it in your mind. Visualize it and hold it in your mind and allow it to tell you you have the power. The power is within you. And you sort of put that, you know, I'm always fond of putting things in a mixing bowl. So if this is this recipe, find something that you can hold, or if you're able to visualize, find that moment. No matter how busy, you can close your eyes and you visualize that symbol, that shape, or whatever it is. You visualize it, and it's there for you. And then you breathe. So let's have breathing into the mix. And I don't mean just the regular in and out stuff. I mean, breathe it in. Breathe in the knowledge that this power symbol is giving to you. You own the power. This is what our power symbol reminds us of. And again, I keep saying this over and over because I know that a lot of people think that if they have a feather or a penny or a whatever it is, or they see a mountain or a wave or a shell, they think that, oh, I'll hold this because this will give me power. No, understand, God did not throw us on this earth without these tools. We have the power within us. Whether or not we visualize a power symbol, we have the power within us. But if we don't have the right attitude, Al, if we don't have an attitude of let's find it then, because now anyone listening now knows you have a power symbol. You've got one. We've all got one. So find that power symbol and use it. And, you know, if you use it on a daily basis, that's brilliant. If you use it once a week, or if you only use it when you feel the need, you feel oppressed, or you feel doubtful, or you feel, you know, whatever it is that you're feeling, where you're feeling powerless, when you're feeling powerless, that's when you use it. So you put it in that bowl, or put it in your pocket, or whatever it is, you put it in there. When people are grieving, people are going through awful traumas and they're grieving. I mean, there is no worse time for you to doubt yourself. Am I doing what I can do? Should I have been there? If only I had been there, this wouldn't have happened, or that wouldn't have happened. In those moments of self-doubt, that's when you use that power symbol. So,
Rosemary, and I would say too, add, you know, maybe to that mixing bowl too. You know, I mean, you said you could, whatever the power symbol is that you find, you could write it down. If you can't write it down, look on the internet and print a picture and fold it up on a piece of paper, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
But understand that you need to slow down to recognize. If you do have a visualization or an image, or, you know,
Yes.
slow down and recognize that and understand why is this being
Don't,
shown.
you're right, Al, absolutely right. Don't let all of those things that you feel, you know, are in there. Don't let yourself be crowded. Don't crowd out the realization of the true power symbol. And yes, you're right. Just slow down. There's no hurry to find it. You don't have to race out and, you know, sort of find something that inspires you. There are lots of things that inspire us. The Apache believe, and Grey Eagle told me this a long, long time ago. The Apache believe that the butterfly is the symbol of eternal happiness and joy. The Native American culture generally, and I am no expert, so please, I don't mean to offend anyone out there. If you know better than me, I'm willing to learn. But as far as I understand it, the Native American culture was so, and hopefully many still are, so in tune with nature, as in many cultures, so in tune with nature, so connected to what is out there, that the idea of those symbols which mean something to them is not new at all. And by the way, this is not new for us either, Al. This is having a power symbol. It's not something new. It's something that is age old. And so, but we've just, with this age of technology, we've forgotten. We don't know how to listen. We don't know how to visualize. We have to relearn what the caveman already knew, what many cultures already know. We have to, in our Western world, we have to relearn how to find this. So, go back to nature, go back to the Native American culture and see what value these people placed in different things, different symbols, different birds meant different things and so on. The totems that they had, the totem poles that they had, the carvings that they had, each carving was a symbol of something. It meant something to them. So when we're looking for our power symbol, we're simply going back to our roots. But you're absolutely right, Al. You can't do that in a hurry. You have to, when we're making this mixing bowl and we're trying to create the knowledge of the power that is within us. We're trying to create an attitude of positiveness and of power and of being more powerful within our own selves. We're not looking for power to go and fight a war. We're not looking for power to sit on the throne that shouldn't be ours anyway. We're not looking for the power to control other people. Many years ago, I had somebody yell at me. I won't say who it was. Got very frustrated with me and said, you're just trying to control me." And my immediate reaction was, no, no, no. And then I thought, wait a minute, no. I do want control. This person was absolutely right. I do want control. But as I said to them, I don't want to control you. I simply want to control myself. I want to control my life. I want to control what happens to me. I'm open to things that change. So I'm not wanting to control to the point of wanting to determine every moment, but I do want to control my own self. So one of the ways that I can do that is to reach into my toolbox and pull out my power symbol, or pull out my mantra, or pull out my ability to visualize, or pull out my ability to raise my level of consciousness to a point where I can tune in to. And our power symbols remind us that that is exactly what we can do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So we're close to time, Rosemary.
I'm going to have my roast beef in a minute.
Yeah. You have everybody's mouth watering. That may become the power symbol of a few.
I made actually, just to really get everyone's mouth watering, I actually made, like 2 minutes before this show, I actually made my fabulous chili sauce using sour cream and stuff. The recipe's in the cookbook. And I cut up some raw cauliflower, and I don't know if you've ever dipped raw cauliflower into a delicious dip. You get that fabulous crunch of the raw cauliflower with the delicious. No wonder I've put weight on now, right? So as soon as Karen leaves, I'm back to eating normally once again. But I just would like to sort of to say to everybody who is listening out there, forget the cooking, forget the roast beef. I would like to say to everybody out there that some people will think, this sounds great, but I can't do it. I don't think I can visualize this. How can I find my? They come at it with a negative rather than a positive. So if you don't know what your power symbol is, you can borrow mine until you find your own. You can use the eagle feather. It always stands upright. It's always tall. It's always strong. It bends, except that it doesn't look as if it bends. It is a powerful thing. Think about birds' feathers. They really are almost indestructible unless you really work at it. What they do, they take the bird, they lift the bird. They, you know, the feathers, bird feathers are amazing things. They remind you of your power. So you can do it. If you can't find your own or you're not sure, borrow mine and then work on finding your own. We can, all of us, find our power symbol if we work at it. Don't say, I can't do it, because you can. All right, I think we're as Al reminded us, we're out of time. Karen and I are hungry anyway, so we've no idea what we're going to be doing next. The next time, if you out there listening have an idea of what we could talk about, I know that there are going to be a lot of people saying power animals, we want to know more about power animals, and we can talk about those too another time, maybe even next week, we shall see. But if you want to know more about us, if you have an idea, you can write to us at, Al is putting it up, info@everythingisattitude.com. If you want to know more about Al, Al at alpasano.com. If you want to know more about me, Rosemary at rosemaryyaltea.com. There you are, you have it all. We'll be back with our live YouTube show where we answer as many questions as we possibly can every Thursday morning at 11 a.m. Standard Eastern Time. Al helps me with that too. Except when he forgets. Did you like that, Al?
I was just going to wish you a happy birthday. We're forgetting that.
Oh yeah, and yes, it's my birthday, and on a Sunday we're going to have great food. It's just useless. I'm going to make some creme patissiere and. Oh, anyway, forget that. I'm sorry. I'm back to food. I'm back to food again because we are hungry. I had no lunch today. So anyway, so we're going to be doing that, and so look for us on Instagram, look for us on Twitter, on Facebook, and all that other good stuff that is out there. If you go on Twitter, you'll see me on the Oprah Show from however many years ago. There are some people who think I still look like that. That was 22 years ago. As much as I love people to tell me how lovely I look and so on, I do appreciate it. I don't look like I looked 20 years ago. Anyway, just to let you know. So we're all over the place. And until we see you again, Al, what do we say? Please, 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 all of you, thank you for watching and have a very, very, very blessed